Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Produce Buzzers podcast. We are so happy you have joined us today, and I think you will be too after the show is over, because you will learn a lot about fresh fruits and vegetables, how to select and store them, how to prepare and cook them, and surprising facts about their history and origin. We hope it inspires you to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, not only for your health, but also for your delight and pleasure as you explore their amazing world of taste and delicious flavors. Eating more of them will transform your life in so many positive ways. So settle back, relax, and get ready for another delicious adventure with the Produce Buzzers. Greetings and welcome to another delicious episode of the Produce Buzzers podcast. I'm Edwin Stepp, your host and executive editor of ProduceBuzz.com. I'm joined once again by Teresa Nolan, the founder and president of Produce Buzz, along with Rick Stepp and Cynthia Benedetto, both contributing editors to Produce Buzz. We have a really hot guest today, Produce Buzzers fans. Today's guest is Nick Masotti, chef, farmer, and founder of Up All Night Hot Sauces. Nick grew up in Winter Park, Florida, where food was the heartbeat of family life, and his love of cooking took root early. He got his start in a Mexican restaurant at just 14, where he kept a good eye on all the sauces. After climbing the culinary ladder in Florida, Nick earned a degree in Culinary and Hospitality from Valencia College in Orlando. Shortly after, Nick packed up and moved to Western North Carolina, where he helped start Trails End Farm, a family-run organic practicing cattle farm. Somewhere between wrangling cows and wrangling peppers, he had a hot idea. Why not bottle his passion for fresh local ingredients into spicy, flavorful condiments? Blending his culinary skills, love of farming, and a global appreciation for hot sauce, Nick launched Up All Night in 2020, crafting small batch condiments that showcase the region's freshest produce. That's how Up All Night Hot Sauces were born. Inspired by his love of music, travel, and a whole lot of heat, Nick's sauces are as bold and honest as the man himself. So grab a glass of milk, trust me on this, and get ready to hear how one chef turned a love for local produce into fiery food. Nick, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Edwin. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on. Nick and I met at the local farmers market here in my hometown, Hendersonville, North Carolina, where he also lives. And his sauces were so good. I mean, I've been a fan of hot sauces for a long time, but he had some really unique flavors, and they're very well made. And so I said, we got to have you on the show. We hadn't had anybody who made hot sauces, and we're mostly about fresh produce, but we know that fresh produce is going into your sauces. But before we get into the sauces, which we're going to delve into, tell us more about your background. It sounds like you grew up in a typical Italian family where food was central. Tell us about that experience.
I did. So the last name, obviously Masotti, very Italian. Actually, the real premise to cooking in my house growing up was German food. Having a German grandmother who cooked for me and our family throughout my whole childhood. That was always the focus. And we were a family that always ate at the table. That was always a big thing coming up. And I know that's a rarity these days.
Yeah, definitely.
So with any good German meal, the sauce is what it's all about. It's all about the gravy. Every protein needs a sauce. That's what my grandmother always said. So that was always a good baseline for that.
Yeah.
Obviously, Italian food still a favorite of mine. Not a coming up as much cuisine. I would say I learned how to cook Italian food on my own volition, but the German food is definitely always in the arsenal.
Well, a lot of people think German food is maybe a bit boring, but I've spent some
Yes,
time in Germany, and
definitely.
if you really get good German food, it is not boring at all. It is really amazing. It's not usually spicy,
No,
but
definitely not. I think that also might be a big proponent for what brought me to, I've always been a sauce guy, and growing up, I always Chicken wings were always a big thing. That's all about the sauce.
Yeah, right.
Anything like that, any meal I eat, I always want a sauce. I think that's whether it be an aioli or a dressing or a mustard base or
Yeah,
a barbecue, whatever it may be.
right. Yeah, I think I agree with you. I didn't really thought about that. I liked what your grandmother said. What did she say? Every protein deserves a sauce or needs a
Yeah,
sauce.
everything needs a sauce in some way. And
Yeah.
and to be honest, like you said, a lot of the traditional cooking of even vegetables is very straightforward, bland, and then
Mhm.
you smother it in gravy, and that's the focal point. So
Yeah, Rick came up with a good line when we talk about some of the foods we talk about. He said, "These things are like salad is just a delivery system for the
it's a
dressing."
vehicle. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. If the dressing's bad, that's what you're going to taste predominantly.
Yeah.
So
So
Yeah, I
I've
actually
not.
didn't come up with that, Edwin. That was one of our sayings at the California Iceberg Lettuce Commission. I worked there for
Oh,
7 years,
nice.
yeah, he
and
used to do
people would make fun
marketing.
of iceberg lettuce, and we always said
Hey,
it's
I like a good iceberg wedge when it's smothered in blue cheese dressing. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Bacon.
And bacon, yeah.
yeah.
There's your sauce.
Yeah, that is great. That's one of my favorite salads. Yeah, Rick used to do marketing for the Iceberg Lettuce Commission.
Very cool.
So that
People
was,
would make fun of me because I lived in Atlanta, and my friends would say, "Why would we have California lettuce in Atlanta?" I
Because it's the
have to
most
explain to them that 90,
predominantly eaten.
yeah, I had to explain that 90% of the lettuce consumed in Atlanta, at least
Yeah,
90% was from California.
and try growing lettuce in December in
in Atlanta. Yeah.
Well, you started out in the restaurant industry very young, 14 years old. Child labor, I say.
Yeah, voluntary. I was
Yeah,
definitely into it.
that's
Um,
great. Well,
yeah,
at that age, did you already think, I want to be a chef?
I think I was very like complacent, I guess would be the right word. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I played a lot of sports in
Oh,
high school. I was a big soccer player.
great.
Um, I played club soccer, high school soccer. That was kind of all I did. And then as that started to fade away a bit, I ended up getting a kitchen job, just like a lot, or a restaurant job, like a lot of high school kids do, because it's easier to do and it's easier with your scheduling, etc. And I enjoyed it. I started to take to it. My mom encouraged me to pursue the culinary degree. I had some good friends and best friends in high school that we loved to just hang out and cook together,
Hmm.
and that's what we did. And we always talked about if we ever had enough shekels together, we'd start a food truck or some kind of food operation,
Great.
which would require one of us to have a culinary degree in some respects, I guess.
Yeah.
But I did eventually decide that that would be a good route for me. As I moved into school later, I kind of wanted to move towards the hotels, better paying jobs in hotels in general, a little bit more flexibility with where you can live and travel. And I had no idea I wanted to live here or would even be moving here at that time. Was just kind of trying to keep options open. Um, did a lot of catering down in Orlando, and that was always obviously catering's pretty big money compared to restaurant work. So that was always alluring, and it's fun meeting new people and getting to kind of be a part of the party and be at the party and watch people enjoy what you're providing. So that was always something that was alluring. And I think that kind of, led me to that decision.
Yeah. That's excellent. Well, it's good to know that your friends that you're growing up with got together and did something really wholesome, cooking, whereas a lot of
Yeah.
kids these days are cooking, but it's sometimes meth. So that you had a good you had a good peer group, it sounds like.
Yeah, for
So
the most part.
I'm thinking,
They
oh
were
my
they
gosh, did they put marijuana in brownies? Oh.
they were troublemakers just the same as I was. So,
okay, all right.
but not
So
but but we were cooking food.
okay. So not totally innocent. Well, that's okay. No, none of us ever were, but that's good. But that's great. I mean, Orlando, what a better place could there be to be in the hospitality to get your get your
Yeah,
feet.
and that was definitely a big part of it. There is a lot of opportunity there. There is the UCF Rosen School there, which I would have liked to pursue. I did end up moving before getting that program completed, but it's
I assume that for our listeners, I assume that, and I don't know about it either. I assume that's a pretty high level or prestigious culinary
it's linked.
school.
It's a culinary hospitality program that's
Yeah.
run by the Rosen hotels.
Oh,
So
okay. Got it.
it gives you a good step in the right direction,
Right.
especially in Orlando,
Right.
having all the theme parks there and God knows how many hotels.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
it would have been nice to do that, but we transitioned and moved up here. I've never been a big one for school per se. Even a lot of my continued education with college was online because, like I said, I worked
Yeah.
50 hours a week. I kind of just did college when I could do it.
Yeah. You can waste a lot of time in school and never use anything afterwards.
Yeah, it's very true.
So
Definitely.
you definitely benefited from your education choice. Okay,
Yeah.
so you make the move to Western North Carolina. How did that come about? Why Western North Carolina? Tell us that story.
Well, we've honestly, it's always been kind of a goal of my parents to be able to retire, semi-retire and start a farm. And Orlando just never really suited, I guess, their end goal.
Right.
And my mom was offered a position up here for real estate. She's a real estate broker with Premier Sotheby's in South Asheville. So the timing kind of just lined up really well. We used to vacation up here a
Hmm.
lot. They just always loved this spot. We had actually looked at this farm years prior to that job opportunity that really was the catalyst for my mom moving here. And we were drawn to this farm in the first place. It obviously needed a lot of work and it was in really rough shape. But just so happened a few years later when she got that offer and she decided to make the move that the farm came up on the market again and they decided right away to sell our house there. And I stayed in Florida for a few months later. And then once I finished my school, I ended up moving up here to start prospecting the farm. And there was a ton of work to be done. The farm was an old Arabian horse farm in
Oh,
the 40s, 50s, 60s, I believe.
wow.
Uh,
I didn't know those existed here. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think they strictly raised horses here. And obviously, it hadn't been a farm in many years, I would say 20, 25 years.
How big
We're
is
still,
it? How many?
so it's 22 and a half acres. We have about 12 acres of pasture, I think, maybe 13 now. We've kind of been pushing that space out. First thing to do when we got here was to renovate the housing, obviously, so we could move onto the space as quickly as possible, which took about a year. We just finished up the last pasture that had been a 4 year ongoing thing between all the other stuff going on up here that getting cows on the property, getting animals back on the fields, getting the fields fertilized and in an actual edible shape.
So you said your mom's a realtor, you're a chef. What does your father do?
He was a not general contractor. He did home restoration. He did own a construction
Okay.
business for a
So
long time in Florida.
when you're going like, oh, we just like, had to get the living order
Yeah,
yeah, in order. And then, we need an extra house for like everybody else to come up. So I'm like, okay, am I out there with my instructions doing this? So
well,
clearly somebody's like
it
a builder.
sounds
Somebody knew what the hell they were doing.
yes, definitely. Both my brothers are builders as well. But between figuring out what we really wanted on the fields to making the time to fence it all in. The fields were in really rough shape when we got here. It was clear animals hadn't been on it in 15 to 20 plus years, so I wouldn't have been suitable for pasture raised animals. Still a work in progress. It looks better and better every season that we've been here. None of us were necessarily farmers when we started either, so a lot of it is trial and error, learning what's a priority necessarily. And now the cows have really become a larger priority because we have many of them now for the space. I want to say we have 12, 13 now. We just had a young one, I think will be steering out this year as well, which is exciting because it's our first
Yeah.
surplus bull that we've had. We raise them really for bloodline, for breeding qualities, for structure, being able to throw their own calves, conformation, all that. It's more of a preserving of the bloodline, and they were always drawn to the Highland cattle.
Oh,
We were
Highland.
debating We were debating doing bison for a while because of the demand for it at the time we moved up here. I'm glad we didn't do that, just for the upkeep and fences you have to put in, etc. They are expensive cattle, but they do, there is a market for people that have interest in that, especially internationally.
Yeah. The Highland cattle, you said, are those the big,
Yes.
hairy kind of?
Yeah, big fluffy yaks.
Yeah.
They call them
And,
coos.
and they do well in the heat of the summer?
They don't mind the heat so much. We do try to give them, I did mention cutting trees out. We were cutting mostly old apple trees out because they did have quite a few apple trees. I assume maybe the horses used to eat them. Um, but we do try to maintain that shade and obviously keep them well watered. But they don't mind it. They don't mind it too much. This year it is definitely getting hot, and was hot early, but they enjoy the climate, both extremes. They can stand there in 10 degrees and make an igloo and love it. They just don't move and they just freeze in to stay warm. So they do handle the different temperature change pretty
And the
well.
buffalo would have done the same?
That I'm not sure about. I
Oh
have
yeah,
seen local.
they
There is
would.
a Hendersonville bison farmer.
Oh, there
They
is.
just
Okay.
they just shed like crazy. In the summer, you'll see there's just hair in the wind. It's the same with our cattle dog. She sheds, sweatshirts worth in the wind. So,
Right.
and you notice that and with the cattle, they do shed a lot of weight in the summer when they need to, and they shed a lot of their overcoat.
Are any of these cattle, if not specifically your farm, uh, but are they used for, do they go to slaughter?
They do. We buy from a guy in Tennessee. He does sell Highland meat, and it's very deep, rich, not gamey, but you can tell it's a grass-fed animal. If you've ever eaten a dairy cow, it's kind of similar to that. It's got like a darker red, almost purplish meat.
Wow.
It
That's
doesn't
interesting.
taste like your Angus corn-fed.
Well, this is fascinating about the cattle farm, but we brought you on to talk about
Sorry,
your
I'll
hot
I'll leave
sauce.
you alone on that.
No,
Yeah.
no, no. It was good. They're good questions, and I'm sure our listeners are enjoying it. Even, it's not fresh produce, but they like to know where their food comes from and all about their food. So that's good.
Sure.
Let's focus then on up all night bottling. First of all, I got to ask the inspiration for the name. I mean, I think I understand it. Makes a lot of
So
sense for hot sauce,
it,
but
it's a
how did you come?
little, it's I guess like a double meaning.
Right.
I am a big music fan, so I'm a big Widespread Panic fan, and
Okay.
that was one of their famous songs that I've always enjoyed, and it was kind of a double meaning for me because the business started out with me and the head chef at the time that I was working with. We actually started as a catering company, and we would work on that and work on our recipes in the late night hours, after
Yeah.
work, after a 10-hour shift. We would come home and have a couple beers and talk about this far-fetched idea of starting something. We didn't really know what it would be when it began. It did end up being a catering operation, and obviously with COVID, that was a little bit short-lived. And with that, we kind of found that we needed to transition into something not necessarily shelf stable, but shelf stable. It is what it ended up being.
Not
And
completely shelf stable, but it's pretty much.
it's pretty good, but yeah, exactly. But it wasn't necessarily our goal to do hot sauce, but I kind of just wanted to find something that with the growing space on the farm for produce that we could source. And it was still in its early stages. Now it's a little bit more developed. We have a decent pepper patch there to supply most of my sauces pretty much year round at this point. It really came about using, taking some sauces that we were already using for the catering operation and developing those into hot sauces or wing sauces, whatever you'd like. People always take them to just hot sauces, but really they're I call them flavor sauces because they're not
Oh,
meant to burn you through your skull. They're more meant to just enhance your food. They are hot, like some of them are hot, but
yeah,
that's just a natural byproduct of it.
right.
You
Yeah.
totally blindsided me with the meaning. I thought I automatically knew what it meant by up all night. I
What did
thought
you think it meant?
if I
What'd you
ate too
think of it?
much of it, I'd be up all night.
Heartburn? Yeah, that's the most common line at the farmers market that I get Folks
Okay.
will be like, I would be up all night if I ate that. Like, no, you won't. Just give it a try.
Yeah.
Peppers even help you with agita to some extent if used responsibly. You know what I mean?
Use responsibly.
Therein lies the problem.
Yeah.
Please eat this
Yeah,
responsibly.
we don't make any sauces that are going to give you the hiccups. Those are always a classic too. 'Cause
Yeah.
for me, if I eat something super hot, like really hot, I'll start hiccups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it pretty hot. I can take it pretty hot, but I did appreciate the sauces that I bought from you and tried the
Yeah, and you
delicacy of
tried.
them.
I believe you tried you purchased the hotter ones, and you were on
Yeah, I
that
did. I
end
did.
of the spectrum. So,
Right.
He is
But
on the end of the
but even
spectrum, and he has no taste buds left. He's just seared them right off his tongue.
but
even for folks that really like the hot hots, they still gravitate towards specifically, the Carolina bee sting is my hottest that I make right
yeah,
now, but it's
that's
also
good.
my best seller because people appreciate that it's a Reaper sauce, but it's not gonna really hurt you.
Yeah,
So
just for our listeners, probably most of our listeners know what a Carolina Reaper is, but that's a particular hot pepper that was developed in South Carolina, I think, right?
yeah,
And it's really it's pretty high. It's not the hottest pepper out there, but
and
it's
not
pretty high.
anymore.
No.
I forget what the last you got guy's last name is, but his first name's Ed, and he developed the Carolina Reaper.
Oh,
And
okay.
then last year, I believe it was, he developed the Pepper X, which is
Oh,
even a tier above it.
okay.
Um,
We'll have to get into that in a bit. I want to get into that and the Scoville levels and all of that. But let's give our listeners just a quick overview of your products. We'll delve into some of them if we have time later, but I want you to just tell them basically what are the sauces that you have.
sure. So right now, like I said, they're all natural. Most of them are coming from my farm, so we grow all of the chilies. We try to grow as much of the produce as we can. Obviously, onions take a little bit of space and a little bit of doing with how many
Right.
onions I use. We do grow the garlic, which is great.
Hmm.
And anything we're not growing, we're trying to source throughout the Carolinas specifically. Um, Being in Hendersonville, we're on the border there, so we're close to South Carolina. So sometimes I'll use some South Carolina farmers for honey or bell peppers, whatever it may be, anything that we're short on. Um, and we initially came out with three sauces. So now we have five. They range from mild, medium, hot, nothing super scalding hot yet, but we're getting there.
Come
Um,
on, Nick. I'm waiting on you.
it'll be another year, I think,
Okay.
until I bring another hot sauce out, but
It'll be worth the
it'll be a
wait.
hot one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll need to be a hot one because it's been asked for a lot.
Yeah.
But the milds will start with Token Swinger, which is a pineapple-based sauce. Obviously, pineapple not locally sourced, unfortunately. But that in that circumstance, we'll go as close as we can.
Yeah.
And that's using a Marita chili, which is similar to a chipotle in its profile. It's a triple smoked red ripened jalapeno. It's a little sweet, smoky, deep. That sauce is I kind of compare it to like a Chick-fil-A Polynesian sauce, but it's more smoky. It's got that tart, sticky, but it's more pineapple forward. Something I brought that out to be a mild. It got a little bit hotter than a mild that I wanted, but it's typically what people who are wimps will go for.
That's
I
me.
love it though.
That's
I
me.
eat it. I eat it all the time. It's the only thing I eat. Well, it's the only way I'll eat pineapple on pizza.
Oh,
That's the go-to.
yeah.
Then the next step up from there is the super soft, which is my personal favorite sauce, hands down. It was the original sauce that I made,
Hmm.
first one that we bottled, and first one we really scaled for production. Um, it's a smoked habanero and serrano, red pepper, red tomato, garlic, onion, a little bit of Modelo beer in there
Oh,
to keep it mild, medium. So it is
right.
not gluten free. It's the only one that doesn't match that. But it's got a broad profile, so it's very garden fresh, goes great with anything that's tomato based, pepper based, red pepper based.
Hmm.
So that one's highly recommend. That's always what, if you ask me, what do you want to, what should I start with? I'll always say that one.
Interesting.
The next step up from there is the green sauce, a verde style sauce, which I actually have cooking in the kitchen as we
Yeah, I
speak.
can smell it.
It's
Oh, that's my
a
socks. Sorry.
it's a jalapeno serrano tomatillo, so your classic verde style, but it's smoked over apple and hickory, so it gives it a little bit of my own twang to it. Um, Very high volume chili sauce, so a little bit thicker, but not as hot of chilies, being jalapeno serrano. So another good starter option for anybody who's trying to get their tolerance up, I guess.
Yeah.
And then the next up from there is my newest sauce, which is something a little bit off the beaten path. It's strawberry and Maruga scorpion chilies.
Oh yeah, I had that.
So it's
Oh,
a little bit hotter. It's got coriander as well as like a main focal flavoring in there.
right.
Pretty simple, a little bit thicker sauce, dark sauce, brown sugar base too. So you get the strawberry up front and then it gives you a good kick.
Yeah, I really like that one.
It's a newer one, so I'm always interested to hear what people eat
Yeah.
it on. I've heard anything from chicken and waffles to wings to ice cream. So anything's always, I don't,
Ice
it's
cream. Yeah,
interesting.
there
But
you
I can't even imagine putting it on ice cream.
go.
I could
I've
chase
actually
it.
had, I actually had a sriracha ice cream up at the creamery up in Banner Elk, and it was surprisingly pretty damn good. It was
Was it
definitely,
spicy?
it was spicy, but it was, if you like the flavor of chilies, it's sweet heat. It's
Yeah.
kind of interesting.
Years
Teresa,
ago, I was
you
in
and
a
I would
Mexican.
not be. Yeah, like I get crazy and I put in like a little cracked red pepper in something. I'm like, ooh, it's gonna be really spicy tonight. Be careful.
Years ago, I was
Yeah.
at a Mexican restaurant with my girls, and they got some free ice cream or something, and one of the girls didn't finish hers. So I was just joking around with them. So I grabbed the bowl and I took the salsa, for the dip, and I put it on there and said, "Oh, let's try this." And I started eating. They were all grossing out, and I thought I was going to be grossed out, but actually it was pretty good.
Right?
Said this, you use salsa?
I just put, the chips and salsa they bring you. We still had salsa on the table and our ice cream and stuff. So I was just trying to kid with them and freak them out. And I did freak them out, but I was pleasantly surprised. But anyway, that's great. I'll have to try it on the ice cream.
Salsa Sunday. I got to remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the last sauce we have right now is the bee sting, Carolina bee sting, the one we spoke of earlier,
Yeah.
which is definitely our flagship, I guess you would call it that, or our best seller, our go-to. And that's a local wildflower honey. We do grow the reapers in there. It's, a fruity flavor, honey focal, a little bit of garlic. It's a Russian red garlic that we grow. So it's an heirloom garlic. And then it's just apple cider vinegar, onions, and salt. Super straightforward, but you've
It's
had it.
really, I've had it.
It's
It's excellent.
rewarding.
I'm not down to my last few drops, so I'll have to come out this weekend.
When you start
Yeah,
a batch,
I'll
how
be
long
there.
do you have to cook it?
Well, it's dependent, batch to batch, really. With some of the sauces that have, say, brown sugar, you might not cook them quite as long because they will turn and burn a little bit. Generally, it's about 2.5 to 4 hours, depending.
Ah,
With something like the bee sting, that's the biggest batch sauce I make at a time at about 40 gallons. It's I give it a long time to brown up the honey and to basically make the onions clear so that it's more homogeneous when I blend it. And I don't use any thickeners, so when I say it can vary, one time it might take 10 minutes longer. It's really just until it's to the viscosity that we're looking for.
now does that depend upon how much water is in the onions and when you were saying
It
like
can
when they get clear, is that you're sweating the onions like that, like just cooking them
pretty
down like
much just
that?
full boiling them. So everything
Ah,
really goes into the kettle and rumbles for 3, 4 hours at a time. I mean, the sauces now are less chunky than they used to be because we've changed our methods a little bit over the years, and I prefer them the way they are now, which required, cooking it down longer. And as opposed to using xanthan gum, which there's nothing wrong with that, it is still all natural, but I'd rather just cook it down and make the flavor a little bit more intense.
Yeah, and the texture is important.
Yeah.
Xanthan gum, I think I generally when something's got that in it, it's a little too sticky for me. It's a little too,
It can be very grippy, which
yeah.
is all that, that's what sugar's for. That's why sugar is in things because it tastes
Oh,
good and it grips things.
okay. So you don't necessarily need it. Yeah, that's great. I
Mm.
did notice
I
that
don't
about
tr I try to use very low sugar. I mean, with the super soft, for example, there's sugar in beer too. So the beer helps actually thicken it when you heat it and cook it down. Um, but we do use sugar as well. We're not sugar free by any means. I think it's crazy when people ask for a sugar free barbecue. That's,
agreed.
your traditional barbecue. I'm like, that's not really gonna work. I don't
yeah.
know.
Can you use
There's sugar and
molasses?
ketchup. I don't use any molasses right now. I've been, but in the same effect, all brown sugar is white sugar with molasses. So I guess
Mm.
in a way, yeah, I do use molasses. But no, I do agree. I've been thinking about using either sorghum or molasses or some kind of substitute. I just need to figure out a way to effectively source it, I guess.
Yeah.
So you could say you use molasses in its purest form.
Yeah.
Well, this is
Sorghum
a
is pretty easy to get in the Carolinas. I'm not,
Oh
What?
yeah.
yeah.
As far as other products that I'm really producing and working on, dry rubs have become a big thing. There's a big trend in general with dry seasonings, dry rubs, grab and go, easy cooking, especially with barbecuing. So dry rubs, I do run an all-purpose dry rub right now. It's called Triple P, pork, poultry, and potato.
hmm,
And we're going to come out with a hot version of that in the next few weeks here, using Carolina Reaper powder and just the same recipe. Maybe end of this year, do a Carolina bee sting dry rub, powdered honey, Reaper powder, and just the same ingredients, powdered onion. So
hmm,
keep it simple, but also, keep it relevant.
yeah. Well,
Mhm.
I'm impressed with the thought and the attention that you put into every ingredient. That's what's really popped out here today. When we talked at the farmers market and I bought some of your sauces, I really was impressed with them, but I didn't realize, Russian red onion, oh, Russian red garlic, heirloom. This is sets your sauces apart, I think, from a lot of sauces that are out there, and it's such a competitive market too. I mean, there's
Definitely.
so many sauces out there.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
Well, I mean, like you said, you got to figure out what really sets you apart and also figure out your target market,
Right.
which for me has been a bit of a challenge. Initially, I didn't know what we would be able to reach, and then once I kind of got the ball rolling a little bit and getting making more wholesale deals, and had a couple big subscription companies that picked me up early,
Oh,
which
cool.
were 3 to 5 thousand bottles in order, which really helps to
Wow.
get the name out.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so that was nice to be able to get your name out without advertising, essentially, and getting
Right.
paid to do so to start. Once we got that going, I kind of maybe was a little ambitious trying to do, grocery stores and get into the big stuff right away. And it didn't really work that way. But we do have, we are nationwide in the same respect, not in big chains, but in mom and pops and in wine shops, in boutique stores, some grocery stores. Really just depends. There's a wide range of the market.
Yeah, I was
And it,
impressed when I went to your website and looked at the map that you have there. Let's
Yeah.
tell our listeners what your website is because they can buy your sauces online there, right?
Yeah, we do ship anywhere in we were doing anywhere in North America, but with recent issues shipping to Canada, it's become a little bit expensive. So we're taking a break from that. And if you ever, I don't know if you have many Canadian listeners, but if you do and they ever wanted to order, we can definitely work that out. You can
Yeah.
shoot me an email at the website is www.upallnightbottlingco.com. And like I said, yep,
upallnightbottlingco.com. Okay, just want
yeah,
to.
it was a bad move on my part, I
Oh,
know.
it makes sense. Up All
Um,
Night was probably gone. I'm sure that's a porn site, like most of those
yeah,
things.
probably something like that. And it was gone,
I'm thinking
definitely.
like, or it could be like a mature woman site that you're just like, I'm
There
up
you go.
all night. Oh my God, what am I gonna do?
Baby products would be.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
there
it.
you go.
Yes, yes.
Anyway, so they can order, and we do have a pretty good size audience in Canada. So
That's great.
Canadian
Yeah, and
audience.
you can also, I mean, we do ship, like I said, but we do have that where to buy tab on the site, like you mentioned.
Yep.
We are east to west, we're lacking in the Midwest right now, but we there is options, so you're not forced to ship necessarily.
Right. They can get it in Minneapolis, Rick.
Really?
There you
Yep.
go.
I
The
saw a
Byerly?
shop. I don't know what the store was, but
Oh,
I
okay.
saw they had a little pin there on the map for Minneapolis. So,
Okay.
I think that in smaller boutique shopping areas, I think that's a better uh, situation. Like from like if I'm going in to look for something as a hostess gift or just something
Yeah.
that that's where I would do that. I'm not going to go down like the hot sauce aisle and just kind of like pick, pin a tail on a
I
donkey.
can def I can definitely agree with that. And at those boutique stores, you might be able to get a 3 pack of Up All Night hot sauce and some bathroom towels and a candle, or something
Right.
more custom. And sure, you could probably get those at Ingles, but or whatever. I get what you mean though. You might be able to get a nice bottle of wine and some cheese all in the same place.
right.
Right.
And those stores tend
Are
to fetch a
probably
higher.
looking for something like you.
They are. A lot of that growth has been very organic, which is nice. People that either reach out on the website or I meet at the markets that are traveling and own a store. There's been plenty of those.
Great.
So it's been nice to expand out of the local area without breaking the bank to do so, or having to, sign on with a big box store off the rip to do so. Um, Not saying that's not something I'd be interested in doing by any means, but baby steps, one thing at a time.
Yeah. I've seen these stores that are just dedicated to hot sauce. Mostly I've seen them in like airports.
Totally. There's a couple that I've worked with that do carry my products from out in Utah to there's one up in Shelby, North Carolina. They're all on that page. And then there's one down in Sanford, Florida, Central Florida, where I'm from. So it's nice to, the hot sauce stores are obviously very competitive. There's a
Yeah.
bajillion other hot sauces in there, but for some of them to reorder quickly and be like, you're sold really fast, I'm like, well,
Yeah.
that's got to be good. I hope at
And
least it looks
that's
cool at that
Dump those
point, I
other
guess.
labels. Just
might not be
make
Yeah,
more shelf space for mine.
yeah,
it might
exactly.
not be a lot of volume, but again, it's like it's advertising, right? I mean, people
It's advertising.
yeah.
Most of the volume is going to come from, like I said, those big subscription companies.
Yeah.
Um, honestly, the apple orchards out here,
Oh, you
they
sell them
sell
there. Yeah.
quite a bit.
Yeah.
Granddad's apples is a big pusher every season. They always put in an order of two
Yeah.
that carry them through the year. Um,
Do you have anything? Well, it's apple cider in some of these sauces, but do you have anything that's
Apple cider, yes.
something that's focused on apples? Or are you going to
I
create something?
did play around with some. I'm still that's still in the works. It's in the
Right.
holster. I think it needs to happen, like a Hendersonville sauce,
Yeah.
which would
There you go.
be got to pull elements from all around.
Right.
But the apples would definitely be in there.
Yeah.
Instead of the beer, you could put moonshine.
There you go. Apple cider vinegar, apples, and moonshine, and then you just got to pick a fitting chili, and you're golden.
You grow most all your peppers, or
Pretty much all of them at this point. We actually stopped growing jalapenos because they're so readily available
yeah,
locally for cheap.
right.
So I just source those from local folks. Um, we grow the reapers, we grow the scorpions, serranos, which we use in two sauces pretty heavily. We were growing habaneros, another ones. They're a dime a dozen.
Okay,
And they grow like wildfire, so it's very easy to find. But
right,
everything we try to keep, coming from the Carolinas,
right. You
and
have
Do you
any pretty
grow
much
Anaheim
any
peppers?
pepper. We do have other. I mean, we grow other peppers. We grow Marconi Reds, pepperoncinis, shishitos.
oh
We
wow.
haven't done any Anaheims, but I'm looking for a cool pepper that grows in a high yield, high density, which I feel like an Anaheim would be one of those. For example, like a thick-walled pepper, like bell peppers, you get a lot of weight out of a bell pepper.
Yeah, right.
Edwin, aren't the Hatch chilies the same as the Anaheims? It's just a different. It
I
must be.
think it's the same grade. Nick may know better than I, but we
I
had a
think you
guest
are
on.
right.
Yeah,
No, go ahead. Go
it's
ahead.
just where they're grown that sets them apart. I think it's that
Yeah, they
hatch.
have to be grown in Hatch.
Right. Have you been to
But
that festival?
I haven't, and I've been asked about it. I mean, you might have been the one to ask me about it actually at the market.
Maybe.
A few people always ask about Hatch, so it
Yeah,
would be cool to. I know it's not a local product necessarily, but it's always cool to support something like that, and
yeah.
if I could source it reliably, and
We had
actually call them Hatch.
yeah. We had a guest on who markets them, and he was telling us we focused on that festival. It sounds like it'll be a lot of fun. Sort of like a Burning Man or a Burning Tongue. Burning
Burning
tongue.
Man of chilies.
Okay, so the favorite Mexican dish that I like are chile rellenos.
Oh
So,
yeah.
and so you can see based on I'm looking at the Scoville scale, the thing.
Oh, we
And
do
so
grow
like it,
poblanos too.
oh,
I
I was
forgot
gonna say
about
like
them.
those
So
are
that's
like they're like right
they're
in
perfect for that.
my wheelhouse.
So
But
I'm actually looking at the scale right now
so
too.
the jalapeno then like hops up, a little
Yeah.
bit, not even
Let's
almost like exponentially. Sorry.
let's clue our listeners in. We know you're talking about the Scoville scale, which
Yeah.
is rating for how hot a pepper is. Okay, so back to your poblano chili
So,
rellenos.
and then you look at the scale, and cayenne pepper is like halfway up, at least on the one that I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
I don't even
sitting
see
at
cayenne pepper.
it's at 30,000 to 50,000.
Okay.
So the reason I don't do the Scoville scale on the sauces
Uh-huh.
specifically is because it does vary.
Right. I
If
hadn't.
you look at them, you can see, a Carolina Reaper is 1.4 million to 2.2 million,
It's a big
which on this,
range.
those are big numbers, but it's a
Yeah.
big range. Trinidad Scorpion is 1.2 to 2 million. So it's like, that's a massive range. You
Right.
really couldn't, unless you're using maybe pepper extract, where it's the same, you're dropping in X amount.
Right.
I've never used that, so I'm not even really sure how
Right.
that goes, but yeah,
That
be
definitely
careful with it,
varies.
I would assume.
No,
Yeah.
I guess what my question is so when you talk about like the California or the Carolina Reaper and the Scorpion, which all sound like names that would make me cry. So the Reaper's the hottest.
The Reaper was the hottest. See, even on this list, Pepper X hasn't made it onto the Scoville scales yet
Who
here,
knew?
but
Who knew?
yeah, it is new, but it is hotter. I think it starts at 2.2 million. But yeah,
Who would know the difference? Who
you
would?
wouldn't. I
Yeah.
wouldn't personally. If you're eating a naked chili, it's going to be
Yeah.
hot regardless.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and that's people always ask me, well, how hot is it on the Scoville scale? I'm like, if it doesn't meet your number, are you not going to try it? I'm not going to tell you. That's like a prerequisite.
Well, I do know that
And again,
jalapenos vary. because
Oh yeah, yeah,
I can buy
definitely.
a jalapeno that tastes like a bell pepper, and I can buy another one that will just knock my socks off.
See, and on here it says jalapenos are 2,500 to 8,000.
Yeah.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
triple.
Yeah.
It could be 3 times as hot as it normally would be. So
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
So, well, wait a minute. So the scorpion, so that's the one that you do, and you do the Carolina Reaper. Is that correct?
yes,
And I remember like when Scotch bonnets were like the hottest thing ever. But
Scotch bonnets though are they're hot and they have a different heat. All of the chilies have a different heat. That's the other thing for me is like I feel like it's kind of subjective because some people find a habanero to be really, really hot. It's just how they react to it. Or a
Yeah.
serrano pepper. I can eat a serrano raw, but 9 times out of 10, I'll eat a jalapeno popper and think it's too hot. And this, according to the scale, that shouldn't be the case. So
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, I'm kind of like up in the air on that whole. You got to have a metric for it, so I understand it.
I asked this question, I'm always like pestering Edwin about it because I knew a scientist a million years ago, but he was saying it's an alkaloid. And he said
Yeah,
that why people like it is that it's like another alkaloid, he would be like heroin or
yeah,
cocaine. So
yeah.
does that make sense to you? Like that?
It definitely does, and I'm sure people who are like big heat seekers, that are actually eating chilies to get high,
Oh, there
which
are
is,
people that do that?
I mean,
Edwin, you're
in
busted. You are so
it's
busted. This bullshit about like, oh, I like spicy food. Bullshit. He's trying to get
well,
Well,
high.
it's a
I've
rush.
yeah,
It's a rush, and
it
if you eat
is.
really hot chilies, you definitely get a euphoric
Yep.
in some aspect.
I've
I'm
admitted
crying
that.
my eyes
I've admitted that to
That,
you, Cynthia, not too long ago. We
that
talked about
that's
out. I'm
part of it
sweating. Like,
too.
no, my tongue hurt like that fun to me. But like,
yeah. When that plate of wings shows up and it's on the hottest scale, or the Thai food that I order, or the Indian food, and it
There's
shows
a
up.
reason people like it. It's
Oh,
it's
there's a
like
rush. A rush.
it's punishment. It's
I
self-punishment.
have to tell you this story. I told this to these guys, I think last week, but we had the farmers market in Charlotte, and we were right across from the Hindu temple. So we had a
Hmm.
lot of people from India that shopped with us, and they had to have the green chilies. They didn't want
Yeah.
the red ones; they wanted the green chilies. And I didn't eat hot peppers at all at that time, and but we would get them in really fresh, and the aroma started to tempt me, and I finally started eating them just because I was smelling them all day long, and it caused me somehow it caused me to want to start eating them.
there, addiction at its finest.
There you
We
go.
just have a very primary
Those
example.
are gateway smells.
But do you know there are people who've actually had a heart attack from eating really
Oh
hot
yeah, you
peppers?
definitely you should definitely take caution because I'm pretty sure it raises your blood pressure or your
Well,
BPM.
well,
Sorry.
I thought
Mhm.
peppers like capsicum is actually supposed to be very good for your heart. So
It,
what's
it's
is that
good
a
for
good
your
thing?
it can be very good for your digestion.
Yeah.
Digestion, obviously in responsible amounts. If you're just eating Carolina Reapers, you're gonna shit fire. So
Yeah.
like if it is supposed to be good though, eating cayenne pepper, a table pepper, very
Yeah.
easy going, is not bad for you by any means.
Right. I always say when I order it hot, I say if it's not going to burn me twice, it's not worth it.
Yeah, there you go.
Disgusting.
Well, Edwin, the other thing I did want to mention before we go is another part of Up All Night. When we started Up All Night, it was Up All Night Gourmet Goods. So we
Oh,
started as we wanted to provide gourmet goods. We didn't know what those goods would be, but we
great.
did want to be, farm to table, or our slogan now, farm to bottle.
That's great.
And that's what was the focus. And eventually, with that licensing issue I was talking about earlier, as far as what I can produce. So lately, I've been producing a little bit more sauce products for other companies. So I've
Oh,
got I have two barbecues that I've been working on. One of them is called the Bee, which if you see me this weekend at the market, I'll have some for you to try.
Okay.
Have you
Well,
ever tried salad dressings?
That was another thing I meant to bring up. Like I said to Edwin earlier, I'm trying to get away from just being the hot sauce guy.
yeah.
I do love being the hot sauce guy too. Don't get me wrong. But I also do, I know Hendersonville is generally an older community. My target audience is typically males and females, but 25 to 50 is the bulk of the order. I'm trying to get into finding some more time to develop a salad dressing. I pretty much have it to the T. It's more when I say R&D and develop, I more mean scale it and be able to make like a lot of it at once because things don't scale in an even ratio necessarily.
I had a friend
But
who
yeah.
was kind of a serial entrepreneur.
Hmm.
He started several business, made millions, sold them off for millions. And I was talking to him one day, and he goes, I said, what's the secret to your success, Edwin? The secret to my success is R&D. And I said, oh, okay,
Yeah.
research and development. He said, no,
You,
rip off and duplicate.
that is that. Yes, that is a big, big part of it. I remember when I started, and my dad was like, "Wait, you're just gonna put the ingredients on the side of the bottle?" I'm like, "I have to." He's like, "But couldn't people copy it then?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I could do the same thing to anybody else. If that was the way you want to roll, then that's the way you're gonna roll, you
But
know?"
you don't put the whole recipe there. Right?
No, the whole
Just the
recipe does not go
ingredients
there.
don't work by themselves.
It's
I'm
hard
making
to
a
rip off.
focaccia right now, and there are what, 4 ingredients, and I still had to like dump my first batch and do it again. Like, please,
Hey,
I think
there you
that'd
go.
be like it. Yeah, yeah.
That's
There
You
you
don't
R&D
go.
have
right
to.
there.
The other thing is you
I
don't
was
have to
following a
say.
damn recipe too.
The other thing is you don't have to say this is a Russian red garlic, right? You just have to say garlic.
No, exactly.
See,
On the side, I mean, yeah, you don't give. There's a lot of things, and I learned that as the sauces have developed. Since I started making them, I do things differently, still by the same safety standards and guidelines you always follow, but there's different ways to do things, and when I'm developing a sauce, you try to make it unique to obviously my situation and what is the most beneficial to me to be able to keep it locally sourced, small batch, etc. I can still consider 40 gallons to be small batch, and I think most people would when you're
yeah,
talking in
yeah. How
comparison
many
to
bottles is that? What are your bottles? About eight
it's
ounces? No,
rough.
it's 4 or 5
They're
ounces.
five and a half.
Yeah.
The bigger
Okay.
batches of bee sting make about 680, give or take.
Yeah.
I might bottle some half gallons too from that. So,
Yeah.
but it's roughly that.
And do you have commercial equipment now, or is it just your stovetop with a big pot?
So
How-
I'm actually using a beer kettle. It's made to be a beer kettle, but it works really well for the hot sauces and barbecue sauces. And I've even done canning in it before, lowering jars into it.
oh,
Works great for that too.
how big is
Um,
that? Is it pretty good size?
that's 40 gallons.
40 gallons. So, okay, like a
It's
big
pretty good
drum,
size.
like a
Yeah, yeah.
40 gallon
And
water heaters,
we're
40
looking,
gallons. Right?
yeah, we're looking to get probably another of the same unit. So we'll be able to run through a little bit more with the co-packing. And
Right.
then depending on the sauce, I do have a tabletop pneumatic bottler. It's semi-automatic, foot
Oh,
pedal situation. Um, and then some of the sauces you have to do by hand, which is a little bit more doing, but I'm pretty good at it now.
yeah.
So
Because they're
it moves
thicker,
along.
harder to get
Because
into a
they're
bottle.
thicker, if they're chunky, just depends what the product is, really. Most barbecue sauces, the machine, they're smooth,
Yeah.
so pretty easy going. And most of the
And
hot sauces
a
are,
wider lid. Your hot sauce,
yeah, yeah.
the top is not that wide.
It's small. Yeah, exactly. You can get a wider nozzle, and it's just
Yeah.
easier.
And
So
do you
That way you can be.
hand label everything, or do you have a labeler of some kind?
I do use a semi-auto tabletop labeler, same kind of foot pedal situation. It moves. I mean, when I got started doing those subscription orders, the 3 to 5,000 at a time, I did hand label every damn bottle, and it
Oh
took
God.
that
You
was
are
that
up
was
all
the
night.
that was the longest part of the entire thing was just hand labeling everyone, and I wasn't as good at it then
Gotta get
either.
them
So
straight. That's
that
not.
was the first thing I did was go buy a semi-auto labeling machine. As
One of the questions I had was, but what's the best way to alleviate the burn?
Oh
from
yeah, that's good.
hot
Yeah.
sauce or peppers if you find you overstepped your tolerance.
you
Uh,
know, so that's I'm sure you've seen. I know you've seen the Hot Ones
yeah.
podcast.
Oh, I
I
have
don't even
seen
know.
that.
Is
They
is
bring
that
on
where
some
they
pretty
had like
heavy
the
celebrities.
celebrities?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I was gonna say
Yeah.
that's
I'm not even sure if you can consider it a podcast anymore. It's so big. I mean, it's like
Yeah. I've
a
actually never
YouTube
watched a
event.
full episode, but I've seen
you
They're
would
it.
great.
hate it.
I would.
He would hate it, and let me tell you why. Because they're sitting there getting interviewed, and they're eating food that they can only eat with their hands. So right there, it's kind of ugh, right? And then they're like, so
Oh yeah.
and so like
Oh yeah,
Edwin's
Okay.
they
head
do
would
mic
blow
them up
off. Like
nice.
yeah,
Oh,
he
you
Oh,
doesn't.
can't do the
Yeah.
auditory sound.
Oh, that just drives me crazy.
No schmutzing.
There's actually an official name for that. It's called misophonia, and it's
Oh,
where you're irritated by the sounds of people eating.
Oh,
I
and I
mean,
thought you were just
I
irritated by
feel
the
like
sound of my voice.
I feel like
Well, that
everybody
too.
has that a little bit at
To some
least.
degree, yeah.
Yeah.
Or you get
But
stuck
yeah,
on an
so
air.
on the Hot Ones podcast, they always use milk. Obviously,
Okay,
milk
yeah,
is
that's
is tried and true.
right.
That's going to be, and
I
the
think,
sauces that they're
you know
eating
what?
are
First of all, I don't like to drink milk that much anyway, but bread is the
Why?
fair.
best thing for
Bread.
me.
Yep.
Bread's
Soaks
good.
those oils
Bread,
up.
like white.
Well,
Just
any
any
kind of
kind.
bread will work, but the better the bread, the more you're going to enjoy
Yeah.
eating it.
Okay.
Just
But
no soda, nothing bubbly, no beer, no
water,
sparkling
water's,
water. Water's not good.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Milk is, and I teased that at the beginning because I had heard that milk is supposed to be the best. It may be the most effective, but that's a lot of milk for me.
Yeah, you can't keep drinking it.
Ice
Liquefied
cream.
butter by the spoonful would help.
Oh, there you go.
What by the
There you
spoonful?
go.
Liquefied
Butter.
butter by like a teaspoon is in your mouth.
Liquefied what? I couldn't hear you.
Butter.
Butter.
Oh,
Mhm.
like clarified, like oh.
Yeah, I guess
And
you call it
I know
butter.
that you're. I know
Joking,
that.
Cynthia. Don't
Oh.
try this at home.
Excuse me. Are you going to eat all that butter? Like I know you're done with your
I've actually used butter
lobster.
before when I was extremely hot from that, and it worked really good.
Oh, so you weren't joking. Okay.
Yeah,
Ice cream. We've already talked about that. There you go.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go with
There
the
you go.
ice cream instead of the milk.
That's that old joke. Come on, ice cream. You remember that one?
I don't know that. I don't remember it.
Oh,
That
I
sounds.
thought everybody heard that
That
joke.
sounds like a dumb boy joke. Is it? Is it?
Alzheimer's.
It's the guy had hot peppers and then he had ice cream for dessert. The next morning he was
Just cheering on the
Oh,
ice cream.
sitting on the can. He said, come on, ice cream.
Disgusting. Exactly. Pig boy stuff. Gross.
Oh, man.
Well, I did have
How old I am.
Well, I think we should let you go. I think probably some of my colleagues too need to go. But this has been a lot of fun and eye-opening.
Yeah, I appreciate you
I
guys.
knew it was going to be interesting, but I really did not know the depth of how you're sourcing your products and every little ingredient, how much you think that through. So we'll let you go.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
All
There you
right.
we put every one of our guests through a really nasty ritual. And
Do you?
I didn't tell you about it before because I knew you probably wouldn't come on. But so here's the deal. Teresa loves puns,
Uh-huh.
and she brings a pun to the show every week, and we
Nice.
punish our guests and our listeners with these terrible puns that she has. And
Love it.
they're so bad. We call this segment Home Grown.
Oh.
I like that.
So we're going to put you through it. whether you like it or not. You have to
Yeah.
stay and sit and bear it. So, Teresa, what is our homegrown today?
Well, the pepper community decided it would be fun to have their equivalent of a beauty contest, which was the Scoville Festival.
Mm.
So they gathered all of the peppers together. It may sound a little cannibalistic, but they had a panel of peppers judging the contest. And, they tried each of the peppers and
Each of the
rated.
contestants.
Yeah, they tried a little bit of the jalapeno, and then they got up to the ghost pepper. And then there was the X pepper. And the crowd was anxiously awaiting the decision of the judges when they looked and noticed that the judges were laying on the ground.
Mhm.
So, what did they do next?
Okay, so I forgot to tell you this part of it. Her puns are always in the form of a question, and then we try to guess what the pun and the
Interesting.
answer is. So let's kind of sum that back up. There's a pepper contest at the Scoville Festival, and all the peppers are trying the other peppers, and the judges, the panel of judges, gets through their tasting, and then suddenly they're all on the ground. Why?
Drying.
I was gonna say they got set on fire.
They're all on the ground drying.
That's
Drying or crying?
Both.
What do you think, Rick? Rick is usually really good at guessing these, and
Yeah.
Cynthia's pretty good. I'm lousy at these, but
They were waiting on the Carolina Reaper, the grim Carolina Reaper. Take them home.
oh no,
That's good,
no.
but no.
No. Cynthia, come on.
No, I said that they were set on fire, like they roasted them.
Okay.
Where's the pun in that? I don't see any.
She just asked, like, what they do next?
They were all peppered out. That doesn't.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
That's pretty
not bad.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what they really did was they called Dr. Pepper.
Oh,
Aww.
that's terrible.
Check,
Yeah.
please.
That's terrible.
Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
We
You
didn't
can't use
grow.
that name for a new hot sauce, right? Dr. Pepper.
Probably
There you
not.
go. We can make a Dr. Pepper based sauce. We can make that happen.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to use the name probably, but although I don't
Unless
know,
you-
if it was on a hot sauce and not on a soda, probably.
We'll call it soda.
There's a lot of people love Dr. Pepper, so that's probably a good.
I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
You could use it as a licensed product probably and put their
Yeah, you could.
Oh,
You know,
really?
I use Modelo exclusively in Super Soft, and I'm really tempted to figure out a way. I probably have to pay a ton of money in order to put Modelo on the label, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, that's
that would
probably
always
true,
be
which is
cool,
too bad because it helps advertising for them, but
right?
I don't know how those deals work. Sometimes
They should give me a ton of money.
I know,
Yeah.
exactly.
On the bottle.
They need it now, right? You know, aren't they
Right.
like the biggest growing?
I buy plenty of it, so
Well, you know what one of the main ingredients of Dr. Pepper was when it was first created, right?
what?
Prune juice.
Really?
Yeah.
In trace elements.
Well, I don't
Trace
know.
elements.
I think that's it doesn't, I don't drink prune juice, so I don't know if the flavor's like prune juice, but
Dr. Pepper is better.
yes, I'm
Definitely.
sure. Well, it is for sure. But I was thinking, well, maybe you could put prunes in something, then you'd have a Dr.
Not a bad idea. Dates.
I'm thinking
I was
like,
thinking,
Dates would be.
oh,
I
that's
was
good.
looking
Yeah,
to do dates.
Yeah.
Dates would be interesting.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Mhm.
There's,
We-
yeah,
we
there's your sweetness.
actually-
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're so if you blend them up, they're really
Yeah.
If you what?
It'd be a good sugar substitute. Teresa
Yeah.
uses
Yeah.
it in her baking.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you made just like a syrup, date syrup.
yeah.
So that
I thought you were going to
they
say
say,
cocaine,
yeah.
Edwin. Like, you know what's in Dr. Pepper. That
Yeah.
was,
well,
that was
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola,
Coca-Cola,
did.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
right. All right, this time we will let you go. No more punishment. Okay, thanks a lot, Nick.
Thank you.
Thanks,
I'm going to try
Nick.
to get by on
Yeah.
Saturday, but if not, I'll see
Yeah,
you
please
somewhere
do.
around.
I'll be there.
Okay.
I'll be there this week. I won't be there next weekend, but somebody will be there. Just won't be me.
Okay, great.
Thank you
All right,
guys. I
thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Take
Bye.
care. Well, thank you, listeners, for tuning in to the Produce Buzzers podcast, brought to you by Produce Buzz, the gathering place for lovers of fresh fruits and veggies. We hope you were entertained a bit and educated a lot about fresh produce. Be sure to join us next time, and please tell your friends to do so as well. Like, share, and comment on our Produce Buzz Facebook page. And check out our website at www.producebuzz.com. There you will find articles about fresh fruits and veggies, how to select, store, and prepare them, as well as lots of interesting facts about all the wonderful bounty the earth provides for us. Until next time, be fruitful and don't forget to veg out.